Someone online said that it was irresponsible to tell ADHD people who can't keep a job that they should start a business. So, did I just give out irresponsible business advice? In other words, am I the asshole? Welcome to Hexotica, the place where unconventional women and gender diverse creatives learn how to turn their creativity into online income. I'm your host, marketing mentor Christine Rice, and this is episode 41. So that's what we're going to find out today, guys. Am I the asshole? Because as an unconventional witchy goth woman who learned very late in life that she had ADHD, and yet became successfully self-employed for the last 9 years, I really believe the opposite is true. I think that if you have ADHD and you've always struggled to keep a job, to hold a job, if you find it difficult, that you may be perfectly suited to start your own business. So in this podcast episode, I'm going to explain why being self-employed as an online digital marketing educator and mentor now for my fellow unconventional neurospicy women and gender diverse creatives out there, I'm really passionate about helping ADHD people who have struggled to maintain a job and to keep that 9 to 5 work, office, commute, everything, all of that going for more than just a few months, that they can become as self-disciplined, as focused, and as organized as they need to be to run their own businesses. I believe that the secret is finding something that you love to do that is fun for you and making it as fun as possible. Something that keeps your novelty-seeking, highly distractible brain fucking interested. For me, my creative, highly sensitive brain hated working boring ass jobs for boring people, doing boring repetitive tasks in a boring office environment, right? It was difficult. Even when the job was really interesting, I would get bored after about 9 months. But once I gave myself full permission and made a decision to pursue an alternative lifestyle of my dreams, alternative lifestyle being time, location, and financial freedom, my whole life changed for the better. I stopped blaming myself for feeling like a failure for not being able to keep all those jobs, and I started following my own personal exotic life manifesto. A manifesto that I had decided I wanted to live when I was 22 years old. I wrote about it in a blog post. I'll leave the link in the show notes so that you can create your own exotic life manifesto. But once I made that decision, because it starts with a decision always, it only took me 4 months to become fully self-employed. And within a year, I had packed up all of my stuff into storage and I became a pet-sitting digital nomad. And that was years before I even knew that I had always had ADHD. And it was years before I really understood how to work with my brain like I do now. So I struggled to find my place and my purpose in this world for most of my life. But I knew that I always wanted that freedom. I wanted self-employment so bad. And I kept striving to become self-employed over and over and over. I failed many times, but I was determined to make it work. And I finally did. And I know that you can too. If you are someone who has ADHD and you're struggling to maintain a job, if you haven't found your place in this world, if you're suspecting that maybe you should start your own business, this is for you. And I believe that you are capable of it. Even if you don't believe that you'd ever be capable of it like I did. I used to believe that I couldn't do it, right? You don't need to be capable right off the bat. What you need is a willingness to believe that it might be possible for you. And you've just got to start planting some seeds of self-trust in yourself now. I have an unshakable faith that when creative and unconventional ADHD people give themselves permission to separate from the herd, they shine. As an ADHD person who has felt it's very difficult to keep a job herself, it shits me when people say that they think that we are too flaky to work for ourselves. So let's just grab this angry goat by the horns, this charging angry goat. Let's just grab it by the horns, right, and confront this assumption, right? So it was some random ADHD woman on Threads who posted that she thought that it was irresponsible to tell ADHD or neurodiverse people that they were suited for self-employment, right? And then she said that if they do, they should just give their programs away for free, right? Like, let's don't try to make a living. Let's just give everything away for free to help neurodivergent people get by in the world, right? Now, as someone who has talked a lot about how I think that self-employment does suit ADHD and neurospicy people really well, based on the fact that over 30% of people who are self-employed do have ADHD, it gave me some food for thought. Like, I understood where she was coming from because she probably has ADHD, and it's very confronting for her to get told, "Oh, well, you should start a business." Like, that is a scary thought for someone who hasn't thought about it very much and who has maybe told themselves that they're too flaky or that they are too disorganized or that, "Oh, I can't even get my life together to hold down this job," right? But here's the thing. I personally would have really liked to have known that my brain was better suited for self-employment when I was struggling to maintain my sanity at a 9-to-5 job. So I want to tell people who have ADHD now that you having ADHD working on your own business is not the same as working for someone else, okay? I was always struggling with jobs. I always quit around the 9-month mark. Like, it was almost like this thing, like, oh, here's 9 months. Let's see if this job lasts, Secondly, now that I have been successfully self-employed for over 9 years, I know that I would have liked to have known that it was not as hard as I thought it was going to be. Okay. It is hard to have your own business. Like, don't get me wrong, right? It is not easy. But I believe that the struggle to work a 9-to-5 job was harder than it was to work for myself. Dogs are going a bit crazy now. Here's the thing about self-employment that you may not know if you've only ever had a job or been an employee. Being self-employed is the greatest self-improvement program you can possibly ever go on. It is the biggest one. And the greatest benefits of being self-employed is that you have no excuses, nowhere to hide, and you are your only obstacle. So you learn to become extraordinarily self-compassionate and patient with yourself. And you discover as much as possible about how your brain works and how to work with your brain. You learn how to become the person that you need to be when you have a strong desire to make it work, when you love what you are trying to do. My point is summed up nicely by the American author Mark Twain, who said, "Find a job that you enjoy doing, and you will never have to work a day in your life." Some of the most successful business people that I know have ADHD. They have chronic fatigue. They have disabilities. They have complicated lifestyles where they may be carers or they have dependents and they don't have a lot of support. Passion and drive are incredibly powerful forces that can defy some of the hardest obstacles in life, giving people the resilience and the resourcefulness that they need to overcome extraordinary disadvantages. But I do see her point. Like, I do understand that this advice is not going to be suited for all ADHD people, right? Like, obviously, it can be a double-edged sword for some people who really struggle to just even function, right? There are some cases with people who have ADHD who are struggling with addiction, impulsivity, or very high risk-seeking behavior, that can be extreme and debilitating in some cases, right? And in such cases, I'd recommend seeking employment assistance or support services before seeking to start a business. I do not recommend starting a business if you are struggling with serious mental health issues either. The struggles of working for yourself are only going to make that worse. Trust me. Often it's the isolation factor that does that. You are on your own. So if you can't afford a mentor or a support mastermind or some kind of group coaching program to support you right from the start and right off the bat, and you're trying to go it alone while struggling with anxiety, depression, you're probably going to suffer. At the very least, you have to join like a local free networking group or get some business besties, like a couple of friends who are also running their business. Like if you have that support for weekly accountability or catch-ups, you're going to need it. Because the problems for ADHD aspiring business owners come in the lack of external accountability. It's the headaches of managing the boring ass administrative projects and tasks, right? So hiring a mentor or a team from the very start is going to help you get over that initial fear of being alone and the incredible overwhelm that you might feel with trying to get that income up, right? And it's going to help you get that momentum that you need to get the business up and running. When you gain that momentum, everything's going to become faster and easier. Your lead gen, your sales, your systems, and your work and your rest patterns and how you're managing your nervous system and your mind. They're all going to be easier when you have a support system or person for weekly accountability. You absolutely need that network. You cannot do this on your own. If you try, it is incredibly isolating. So if you are struggling with any kind of mental illness or unable to function in your current life, do not start a business. It's probably not going to be suited for you. But if you're functioning okay and you just find it's really difficult, you get bored, like you just find it difficult to show up on time, if you find that you're just not interested in showing up to your job every day and you just know that there's something bigger out there that can keep your mind active, then you are the person suited for self-employment. ADHD entrepreneurs can quickly end up in overwhelm and burnout if they do not have a strategy and a lot of support. Many people are going to try to get a business off the ground, and if they do not do as well as they liked, they're going to end up back in employment, right? And the shame and the financial setbacks of that can feel unbearable, right? I know because I have been there many times. My first business was selling handmade accessories, and I did that over eBay, Etsy, and Shopify platforms. And it was never consistently profitable enough to support my world traveling lifestyle at the time, right? Like even after 8 years. My big mistake back then was not hiring a business or marketing mentor. If I had, I would have learned from them that the fastest way to get self-employment, which is the main thing that I wanted, was through services, and that would have suited my lifestyle so much better. But I didn't even know at the time that social media management was a thing. I only learned that it was a thing when I got a job after another trip to India, and I came back and I had to get a job because, money was running out. And when you have an e-commerce business and you're a one-person, everything slows down. So it was going to take a while to get my sales back up, and I thought I'll get a job. So I got a job, and it was a huge revelation to me. Oh my God, people are getting paid to do social media. And that's how I landed in my first job as a social media manager / e-commerce jewelry designer with Laser Cut Company. And that my boss became my first client. So when I closed that e-commerce business and I turned to services, when I made that decision, I became fully self-employed within 4 months. But how much quicker I could have become self-employed and known about these different ways of making money online if I had hired a business and marketing mentor. So creative rebels like me, right? We will struggle for years and we will blame ourselves for not being able to get something to work when the support is and has always been right here. It's always here. You just have to work on that self-compassion and your self-worth to get past the self-blame and all the shame narratives and the feeling that you have to do this on your own. All that loud and messy head drama that we have, right? That makes things feel harder than they actually are. And we need somebody to give us the outside insight, to give us the more practical and logical choice, right? Things like hire someone who knows what to do to help you with the boring task in your business or the things that you can't do, right? But you've got to stop blaming yourself for not being able to keep a job when you have ADHD. Most jobs were not designed to accommodate your ADHD novelty-seeking brain. If you're struggling right now and you've failed repeatedly before, as I did, I have one question for you. Is it better to have tried and failed than to have never tried at all? Many business owners pop in and out of employment before they find their footing on their own, like I did. And there is no shame in that. The shame is when we tell ourselves that we are the failure. But choosing that story is a choice. It's often not a conscious one, though, which is why people will often insist that it was not, like that lady in the threads, right? We could easily choose to learn from our failures and feel good that at least we tried, and maybe we will try again. And if you have ADHD, you'll probably need to try again and again and again and again, right? This is the way. But know that you are not alone. And if you've had a million different jobs and none of them have worked out for you, you are not alone. Don't just take my word for it and my experiences, right? Go and have a listen to my last podcast episode with the interview with Becky Tregear of Becky Tregear Art. She created her own art-based income with a thriving YouTube channel from her passion and her interest, right? And like me, she struggled to keep a 9-to-5 job. She had many different jobs before she landed on that. She's a great example of what giving yourself permission to go all in on your creative passion looks like. And as a business and marketing mentor, I really admire how she's got exactly the right patient, self-compassionate, long-term thinking mindset for business success. It was evident in many of the things that she said in our interview. She's got an absolutely radiant business mindset. But as she points out many times in that interview, that did not come naturally or easily for her. You have to become a business owner. Simply starting or having a business does not automatically give you that strong, internally anchored identity that makes it easier. And that's what I wish I could tell that Threads poster who said it was irresponsible. That the thing that you want to become is learnable. You can become a business owner. You can become as disciplined and as organized and as savvy as you need to be because it's all learnable. That's the good news. And just remember, ADHD people who can't keep a job are not failures. Those jobs were just never the right fit. And you'll realize eventually that your brain requires more stimulation and flexibility than most jobs can offer. That's the big insight that I had after I learned about ADHD, right? Like, no wonder why those jobs didn't work out for me. You can either continue searching for a more aligned career, or you can start now and make one. There are other paths, and self-employment is a viable option for ADHD people like you. Don't let anyone convince you that you're not suited for it. Like, have you ever seen how hyper-focused we get when we're passionate about something? It's an incredible superpower, and you can learn to channel that to its fullest when you work for yourself. And you can just hire other people to do all the boring work for you. Like, hello, outsourcing. It's one of the greatest things about working for yourself is that you can just hire people to do all the parts that you don't want to do that are boring or that feel hard. Entrepreneurship is learnable. I learned it, and now I teach it. So if you're ready to create your own more secure job and learn a money-making skill, then I've got you. While there's no guarantee that you'll become self-employed as quickly as I did. There are faster ways to build a profitable business of your own that will perfectly suit you and your dreams and your skills and the lifestyle that you want. The important thing here is that you don't wait. You can start now, even if you are employed or you're seeking employment. Learning to make money online like a money-making marketician is a skill that nobody can ever take away from you, like they can take jobs from you. ADHD people who can't keep a job can still keep what's in their beautiful neurospicy brains. Nobody can ever take the skills that you learn away from you after you learn them, right? So just learn the skills that replace the job before the job replaces you. That's how I see it anyway. That's how I started to especially see it later in the years of my e-commerce business. You could start a side hustle now that'll help you build up the confidence and the savings that you'll need when you are ready to go full time. And this is exactly what I can teach you in my SWAN Transformation Strategy mentoring programs. We identify and validate your creative business idea, and then I show you the 5 essential foundations that you need to build and how to make a strong marketing platform with a strong marketing strategy that suits that creative idea that you have. So we're working together to strategically transform you into the thriving online business owner that you want to be. So, for example, I share my unique approach to help you effectively manage your time and your focus, and I help keep you accountable. I show you how to self-coach yourself to manage your ADHD brain for the best results in your life and in your business. Mindset really is everything when you work for yourself. So having a mentor to help you work through both your marketing and your mental blocks, it's a huge, huge advantage. It'll literally save you thousands of dollars and weeks, maybe even months or years of time trying to figure it out all on your own. So if you'd like to learn more, sign up for my free weekly newsletter, The Inner Sanctum. You'll get every new Hexotica Podcast episode sent straight to your inbox, and you'll get a VIP invitation to book a call or a DM chat with me to find out more about how to get mentored by me. Because who knows, maybe you could be fully self-employed within 4 months of hearing this podcast, like I was. Like, it doesn't take that long once you learn the direct route and the fastest way that will suit you and your lifestyle. You don't know unless you try. So that's what I wanted to say to that lady on Threads, is that, she didn't know what she didn't know, right? And if I could just sit down with her, I would say, you can learn this stuff. The drama that you have in your head that you're too disorganized or that you're too flaky, it's not true. Unless you have those issues with mental health or addiction or, something that's really keeping you from functioning right now, you can learn this stuff. Lots and lots of other people with ADHD have learned to overcome the obstacles that they have with ADHD. They've learned to use their own minds. Things like gamification of your time. That gamification was one of the biggest takeaways I had when I finally learned that I had ADHD. It completely changed my life. And now I teach it. All right. So am I the asshole? Am I the asshole, or am I just giving encouraging advice? I'm just trying to get people to think a little bit more positively about what the possible avenues are out there for you. I don't know. You let me know. All right. So thank you so much for listening, lovely guts. Have a wonderful week. And as usual, if you enjoyed this podcast, leave a Hexia on the YouTube channel or on any of the social media channels. I'm on all of them. Until next week, I'll see you again. Love you. Bye.